Hello, guys and gals, me Mutahar, and before somebody goes into the comment sections of the video and types in first or wow, I'm glad to be commenting early. I want you to watch this video a little bit before we actually have a discussion, because I am actually more excited to read this comment section than I am for any other video out there, okay? I'm not even joking. So I'm going to start off by giving the hottest take of it all, okay? All right? Harming kids is bad. Ooh, I know. Ooh, shocking. No, actually, it's the coldest take in the world. I think most people, like 99.999% of the world, can agree on it, regardless of whatever political affiliations you have, regardless of what nation you're from or where you're at. I think we all can agree that, harming, the innocent or harming the most vulnerable is bad. Now, the thing about this is, obviously, I don't think people have to be preachy about it. I think most people just understand it. But lately, there's been a lot of content in regards to, predator stings and predator hunting. Now, for me, I've made a fair bit of content focusing on the protection of children in the past. Shadier websites, really, really dark rabbit holes. One that always will, stay with me because of how dark it got was the Club Penguin rabbit hole. Now, that was a video series that me and a fellow content creator, Kavos, actually worked on together, and there are still elements of it that kind of keep me up at night to this day. I'll just leave it at that. Now, in uploading videos to YouTube, there's a lot of things you have to edit out, so a lot of that video was, there were parts of it that got pretty dark, okay? But there was one thing that was most important about that video. Law enforcement, specifically the United Kingdom's Metro Police, was involved on that project. And the involvement of police was so important because if anybody can bring actual sickos to justice, it is the law enforcement agencies all around us. Now, law enforcement agencies really don't like vigilante justice because ultimately it gives predators bad people and out legally and lets them get away with whatever crimes they could allegedly have done. So I saw this video floating around. Child Pred comes to meet a little kid and got trucked really hard. So what they mean by trucked is he actually ended up getting physically assaulted. So let's watch a little bit of it. I can't show you the whole clips. I can actually show you a few seconds of it just because YouTube's terms of service in regards to sting operations and police being present is very important. There are actual law enforcement that are present towards the end of the video. As some can see right over here, a cop actually comes across this individual in an actual police vehicle, as is readily apparent. So let's give this a quick little watch and just see immediately some of the things wrong here.
Stop walking away. Leave me alone. Bro, stop walking away.
So within the first 4 seconds, I have to stop the video because the people conducting the sting operation actually physically assault the person that they are accusing. Now, I don't have to be a Saul Goodman to tell you guys that assaulting somebody really doesn't go well in a court of law. Even if that person is a bad guy, even if their charges stick, ultimately the assault case actually goes on for you. You don't just get absolved of that charge. And for a lawyer, anybody that's defending a alleged creep like this can easily take all of these little instances, and assault is not a little instance, and use it to basically exonerate this person. Even if they have committed a crime, the actual vigilante justice people here basically are giving them all the ammunition possible to use in a court of law to get away with the sickest of stuff possible.
Just leave me alone.
Bitch, why did you want to meet up with the kid?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I will never, ever fucking do that shit again.
All right, that's better. Stop. You're going to stop.
Okay,
You're going to stop. You understand now?
So I'm going to just say they basically keep wailing on this guy. And one thing that I want to just straight up say for the record is if you watch the minute 55-second clip, all of it, it becomes pretty readily apparent that this person is on the spectrum. What spectrum? The autism spectrum, so to speak, okay? Just because of the way they conversate, their social cues, they don't seem to be mentally all the way there. Now, is that an excuse for allegedly terrible behavior involving a minor? Absolutely not. But obviously, the assaults that keep on taking place where they just basically slap this guy, throw him into private property causing damage, is a big, big issue. So towards the end, when the cop shows up, there's one thing that absolutely sticks out to me in this clip.
Am I going to jail? My mom's gonna kill me. I'm sorry.
Get down.
Trying to be a 13-year-old kid.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Stop.
My mom's gonna fucking kill me. I've
Okay,
never done
stop.
this shit before.
One
I just
second.
want to go home.
So when the cop shows up, they basically bring out what this person is allegedly guilty of, and the cop goes, Who's doing something with the third? Now, this kind of shows me that the law enforcement wasn't necessarily involved in this process. And there's nothing to really indicate that they are. I know that these people are part of a larger group. I haven't necessarily jumped into their locals and looked for this information. But for them to send in one officer that also was not present at the time the sting operation started, they ask, what is? The person goes up. Basically, the law enforcement officer tells them, just sit down, okay? Law enforcement will do that to anybody. Like, if you're walking around and law enforcement detect, like, you basically can possibly be a threat, right? Like, if somebody's walking up to you, you don't know if they've got a knife or a weapon or something. So as a cop, you're probably going to tell them, sit the fuck down, okay? Everybody, stop moving. Let's figure things out together. So basically what happened is, or what allegedly has happened, is these people, I guess, found this person on the internet, talked him up, basically, got him to say some unsavory things on chat, and you lure a potential minor, which again is a serious offense. They bring him out for a sting operation, and in the sting operation with, no police involvement, I believe at the time, all right, what they do is they beat him a little bit, damage private property, and ultimately make it a serious situation where even the cops might have a hard time prosecuting this guy. So usually with cases like this, you never really know if somebody has been entrapped or how the evidence has been gathered, whether there have been certain procedures that have been followed properly, because sometimes things can matter state by state, country by country. And if these people don't follow those procedures very well, if this person allegedly has been guilty of this crime, then they potentially can find a way out of actually facing any serious consequences for that crime, which ultimately I think is the worst possible thing. So, I've covered people in the past, like Mama Max, for instance, with his bullshit investigations. Now, recently it was like Max was apparently working with like a youth help organization for minors or whatever. And, when that organization was tipped off about his behavior online, I believe he was promptly fired for that. But to go over to Max's case, when he was covering Camden Gerard Davis, he made goofy videos online, basically defaming somebody that he had no actual concrete evidence on at the time, or I believe even now. And what he's done is basically give that person a defense out. The other reality of this situation is, oh my God, everyone's really wild today. The other problem with that situation also becomes when, that person, when you're going after somebody like that, you're putting other people that are potentially in that situation, if that situation exists, also at risk by basically blowing the horn. And now Mama Max and, his lead victim, Spencer, I believe she's actually removed her video, so I have no idea what's going on there. I believe at the time there was actually even a case that was being built. I don't know the current status of it, but Max did nothing to help that situation. And when it comes to a lot of these kind of characters, right, I believe in a lot of these cases, right, that some of these people are actually using this predator hunting, format or this content to basically up their social media points. And look, if that's the case and that's how you get your viewership and that's fine, that I'm actually okay with that. If you follow proper procedures and get people behind bars. This is just one of those things where I see these people like Billy Butcher from The Boys where like they don't follow any real procedure. And even if this is going to go to a court of law, I would be kind of shocked if it actually all amounted to something that could be used by law enforcement agencies. It's not law enforcement that wants to protect criminals out there. It's just that the law is designed to give everyone a fair and free shot. It's a complicated institution that human beings have built together. If you don't follow the law properly when investigating or bringing somebody to justice, you might easily help them get away. And that makes, in my opinion, you just as guilty as a predator, okay? Personally, if you're basically assisting them getting away with fucked up shit like this. Now, I decided to look up the actual source for this, and the guy behind it was Jay Carnicom, or DAP, which I believe is the acronym for Dads Against Predators, where they were founded by Joshua Mundy, and this Jay Carnicom in Ohio. Now, the thing about dads against predators is that they're not necessarily beloved by law enforcement agencies. So, for instance, there's one article I found where the Sandusky sheriff calls them reckless and they threaten prosecution. So while they say the aim of DAP is to raise awareness of the dangers of children chatting or meeting up with adults online, law enforcement said that they are aware of these issues in the community, but the methods used by DAP can create hazardous and potentially dangerous situations in the community, which we'll get to. We told them the obstacles of why we can't charge people when they're doing it. Unfortunately, they would give us information on cases they've been working on. We had been given edited information, said the Fremont Police Chief, Dean Bliss. Local law enforcement agencies and prosecutors of Sandusky County and the city of Fremont cannot and will not sit back anymore and watch as DAP continues to parade its form of vigilante justice. Its intentions may be well intended, which I don't disagree with, but their methods and outcomes are improper and unacceptable. The exposed individuals may be exactly what DAP says they are, but they may also not be. DAP's careless and reckless regard for law and order and due process has resulted in the loss of life, and the situation has gotten out of hand. So the thing about it is, I think that these people probably have really good intentions. Like, these are probably dads that care about the protection of their children and the children around. It's just that this brand of vigilante frontier justice, when exacted in such an unprofessional manner, actually causes real-life deaths. So one thing that you might have heard of from 2022 was a Winston-Salem target shooting where dads against predators were involved. Investigators would discover that the 3 men associated with DAP lured the man to target using an app called Meetup and then confronted him on why he came to the meeting, so the sting operation. During this confrontation, one of the DAP members began recording the interaction on his cell phone and the man slapped the phone away. This led to a physical altercation that ended in one of the DAP members being shot in the leg and the man being assaulted and having his gun stolen from him. So what appears to be great clickbait on YouTube, like, hey, predator tries shooting me, disarmed and survived by the skin of my teeth, can turn into a real nightmare for the people around you. Imagine if that gun had not just gone through somebody's leg, but ricocheted or potentially hit somebody in a fatal area. Then you would have one death, one innocent death, and just imagine, putting anybody in a dangerous situation like that where cops have to get involved and worry about actual gunfire in a situation. Usually, when you have like a sting operation, you try to make sure civilians aren't around you, just in case this situation even happens. Imagine somebody has a gun goes off, innocent kid gets shot by mistake. Well, whose fault is it? Is it the person shooting the gun or the person that aggravated the situation to the point where it was irreversible? So when I was looking up DAP's actual, channel, I went to this one article that actually linked DAP Inc., right? Dads Against Predators. So again, opening up that link led to a channel being removed because it violated community guidelines. Now again, to give an idea, I believe that for some of these people, the heart is in the right place. It's just the methodology ultimately makes it so that these scumbags that they're going after, allegedly, can possibly get away, all right? Because once you had assault, property damage, all this shit, it doesn't make it so that these people, it makes it so that the people defending them in the court of law, if it even gets to that, ultimately have a chance to help them get out of this stuff. Now, one of the people that I was looking at also when it came to this stuff, which I feel like is a pretty decent mention, is obviously, if you ever heard the name Vitaly Zdorovetsky, he's a famous, Russian-American YouTube prankster. Back, in the day when prank channels were like a huge thing, as realistic as those things were. Now, Vitaly was actually charged for attacking a woman for a jog, okay? Let me just read something out. I'm not saying this is true and honest or anything. This could be BS. You know, it has to be validated in a court of law. In Miami Beach, all right, Zdorovetsky suddenly jumped in front of this woman with arms open as if to grab her. He then, according to police, tackled her to the ground, straddled her, then punched her with closed fists in the face and chest numerous times. Imagine a roidhead like Vitaly going on you like that, Jesus. The woman screamed, which drew the attention of many people nearby, which he allegedly believes prompted her attacker to finally back off. The police report said the attack left the woman with a 2-inch laceration above her right eye that required stitches. Now that this is true, Vitaly is truly a disgusting individual, preying on, a defenseless woman, most likely a third of his fucking size. Now, Vitaly, who's long since abandoned his YouTube channel like 4 years ago, where he was uploading, from what I imagine, somewhat fake pranks or whatever, has now basically evolved into partnering up with people like Akon, who was also running the Akon City nonsense, which really shows you that a lot of these people just kind of gravitate to each other. But yeah, bankrolled by stake.com, Vitaly is just out there catching predators live on Kick, of all places. Now, Vitaly, who's got situations where he's apparently throwing flashbangs on people, I'm not sure if I can exactly even show that, but you've got him potentially going up to predators, alleged predators, and spray painting on them while rapping. So he's basically made an entire joke out of this entire, predator hunting thing. Now, people who wonder, but Muda, is it real? I'm going to go out and probably wager both of my testicles right now and say that what Vitaly does is fake. Because if Vitaly was doing this in reality and filming it for the world to see, I'm sure that letting flashbangs go off, I'm sure that, basically what this person is allegedly accused of, if he went to a court, could probably say, I was falsely imprisoned, battery, assault. Yeah, there's a lot of things that Vitaly is doing in these skits where it could absolutely land him in jail. But I guess the reason for me to show you this was that this is one brand of content where even if you are somebody who has been alleged of some of the worst things possible, in Vitaly's case it is beating a woman, he can basically come back and do this content and build a platform. Because everyone obviously doesn't sympathize with people who harm children. The thing is even talking and getting into this discussion would make somebody in the comment section go, wow, Muda, what are you thinking of the predators or something? Obviously not. What I am most important about is conviction. Nothing drives me more up the ass than if scumbags who have harmed children, women, men, anybody, the innocent, get away with a crime because the people that were trying to deliver frontier justice to them ultimately extended more than they needed to and ultimately harmed the entire legal process. We built the law for a reason. Let's try fucking using it. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I really wanted to talk about. Insane shit. But yeah, this video has been kind of eating at me for the last couple days, and I wanted to really get this stuff out there. If you see this kind of content, I'm going to wager when it gets to this level of outlandishness, when they're physically assaulting people, it's worth calling that behavior out and telling people the real destruction of it. It's really just content to get viewership and not actually deliver real tangible justice. Anyways, there's pretty good people out there. I think Skeet Hansen does a great job, and he's funny doing it. Alex Rosen does a pretty good job. From what he's told me and from what I've discussed with him, he has a whole network of police that he works with. So yeah, regardless if you hate the guy or not because of his crass, demeanor, he does actually get the conviction. So yeah, there are good people in the space. The people that I talked about, definitely I would consider more destructive than helpful. Anyways, I am out.